see my, okay, the meeting is being recorded. All right, and my screen is frozen. Can everyone still hear me?
We can hear you. I'm not
Yes.
sure why your screen froze.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. Not sure what's going on there. Well, I wonder if I do that for a second.
Yeah, Kane, if you have other programs running in the background, your email and stuff, that might be slowing down your camera.
Okay, let me try that. Call the meeting to order. And just for everyone, when you are speaking, particularly the board members, please state your name if you're taking a vote or something like that, or need to chime in with some information. Just make sure you state your name first, since we do have a lot of people on here. So I will get started with the membership meeting, our board of directors nominations and elections of officers. We always do this at our annual meeting when we do have some outgoing officers and incoming. So based on the nominations we received this year, Kevin Abrams is still going to be president. Erica Rogler, her terms have expired as vice president of the board, but we're thankful that she is going to continue being on the board. But based on our nominations, David Palmer was going to be vice president of the board, and Chris Brown would remain treasurer and secretary for an additional term. Just want to see if the board had any other nominations. If they are fine with this, please let us know if you'd like to vote these officers into another term and Dave into his first term. Can I get a motion?
Erica, so moved.
Okay.
Brian Leon, second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Well, Erica, thank you very much. You've been an excellent vice president to the board, and we appreciate Dave stepping on as VP for the board. As always, thanks to Kevin and Chris for continuing their hard work as president and treasurer secretary. So I'd also like to introduce a new board member. She just joined the team at Keystone College, Christine Saki Mulvey. And she spoke with Vanessa and I not too long ago when she first came on. She replaced Liz Ratchford as the grants coordinator there at the college, a great educational partner for us. So Christine, if you'd like to say a few words, please feel free.
Hello, everyone. I'm sorry that you can't fully see my head. I'm short and my camera doesn't come all the way down, so I apologize for that. But I just want to say thank you, and I'm glad to be coming aboard.
Thank you very much, Christine. We appreciate you coming on. So we're going to move into the business meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes from the August board meeting? And can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll motion they be approved. Dave Palmer.
Dave
Donna
Palmer?
Iano will second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty. Next, we have the election of officers, which we just did. The executive director's report was sent out to everybody. Since I have my year in review report, we're just going to skip over that today. A lot of that will be mentioned in there. But if you have any questions about the director's report, please just let me know. We're going to move on to financials. Dave, you're up.
Good morning. I sent out the financial reports. They are for the first 2 months of this fiscal year, July and August. So they're fairly brief. I've looked them over pretty good, and the couple things you notice on the first page, there's a minus number, 2,447. That is because we took money in for sojourns last fiscal year, and due to the river, we've had to refund them this year. So that's why that's showing a minus. Hopefully when we get more in for next year, that'll even that out. But this the nature of our business. Our payroll is about $1,200 below what we budgeted, which all is good. We have, since this was printed, most of the round 25 projects that are shown on there that we haven't paid anything to, we've paid money out to in September. There's only 2 of them outstanding. And those are really the 2 things that I wanted to bring to your note. Other than that, we're doing along pretty good shape for the first 2 months. The other one I sent out is the balance sheet, where we are compared to last year. Overall, our assets are about $14,000 more in cash and CDs. We're in very good financial shape with reserves. So that's what I want you to see there. And the last one is the usual internal monitoring report, which just says that we're doing everything the way we're supposed to be doing. The December meeting will be the massive one that's like 30 pages long. So this is just the monthly. That's all I have unless there are any questions.
Okay.
I have a
David?
question. The federal stimulus, $18,000, will that eventually be forgiven? Is that the way I understand
It
that?
was forgiven.
Oh, it was forgiven.
Yes,
Okay.
it was forgiven last fiscal year. Mhm.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions for Dave? All right, can I have a motion to approve the financial reports?
Brian Leon, motion, so motion.
Okay. Do we do a second?
Christine, second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty. We're gonna move on into our year in review. I will share my screen.
Kane, we need to do the bank resolutions.
Ah, that's right. They were they on? Okay, they were. So basically what we did was we approved our new officers. Just want to sign some bank resolutions in which they will be able to sign checks and, you know, operational things like that for EMHR. So this will officially make the changes necessary, which will pretty much just be Erica and Dave switching around, Dave Palmer, so as our new VP.
Resolutions number 2021-1 and -2. So you just need to vote to approve those resolutions.
Can I have a motion?
So moved, Erica.
Donna Iannone will second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, Vanessa, I also see membership updates on here. I did include some of that in my executive director's report. Did you want to say anything on that?
No, we're just moving forward. When Kane and I do go out or Dave goes out to different outside activities, we have been collecting new memberships. So we are excited about that. Other than that, we're just moving forward.
Okay. All right, I am going to now share my screen and bring up the year in review reports. So basically 2020, as you all know, has been a very crazy year, and 2021 not much different since COVID is still here. We are just moving along as best we can. We basically are just you know, adapting to the times and, you know, trying to get through this all. So wanted to update you on our progress with DCNR and Heritage PA. Despite being in the midst of that pandemic and economic hardship in 2020, ended very positively as the EMHR received its largest community conservation partnership program grant in its history from the DCNR, totaling $270,000. And that was for round 26. So we're currently awaiting to hear what we will be awarded for round 27 and should be informed sometime around November. That's normally when they announced them. Last year, they announced them in September. So you never really know, but it is normally toward the end of the year. We applied for $243,523 and change. I just rounded it up there. So we, included a lot of things in that application, most of which I think dealt with finishing out our, management action plan update, which we'll talk about and hear from our consultants, and also a Endless Mountains bicycle trail loop, which will essentially be a bike packing route through all 4 counties. This will be over 400 miles and about 33,000 feet in elevation changes throughout. But we're teaming up with our local tourism bureaus and Donna Iannone, who is on the call. She's one of our board members and Sullivan County Commissioner and an avid cyclist. So she kind of came with us with this idea. It could be the very first in Pennsylvania, we believe, and it's going to be a really cool way to promote cycling, whether it be gravel cycling, road cycling, what have you, in our region. So we really want to hit this hard. We plan on going to Philadelphia in November to promote it at the Bike Expo. Hopefully that happens. Like I said, COVID cases are on the rise, so we're hoping we can get down there and promote it and get a good head start on getting it out there to the public. So back in February, I was unanimously voted to be president of Heritage PA of the 12 heritage areas, mostly because no one else wanted it. And the 12 heritage areas, we've been really pushing our legislative advocacy to ensure that we are, getting more funding, since the heritage areas are more active than ever, it feels. And we've been on kind of level funded for nearly 18 years, I think it was, we found out. Just the standard 2.25 million that's divided up between the 12 heritage areas. And then we pursue any additional funding we get through the Environmental Stewardship Fund and things like that. So we really want to push to get more funding into the heritage area program. I think it's long overdue, especially as important as we found outdoor recreation to be during the pandemic. A lot of people getting outdoors and coming to rural areas like ours to enjoy our trails, water trails, historic sites, a lot of outdoor venues. So we really want to keep pushing that. So 2021, our Round 26 Partnership Mini Grants program, we were able to award 12 projects in Bradford, Susquehanna, and Wyoming counties. We did get an application from Sullivan County, which we've really been pushing for. But that was a project that really seemed to need more funding than just what one of our mini grants could provide. So we really want them to go to DCNR, get a larger C2P2 like grant, and get that project going, so we can start awarding mini grants for basic phases of the project and help out in any way we can. That's essentially a recreational facility they'd like to create out there near the high school. So we received 23 applications requesting nearly $150,000 in funding. So with only $65,000 available this year, it was a really highly competitive process. And we thank our grant review committee for, doing a great job in picking the best applications for funding. We wish we could award them all, but as you know, that's not possible. So we really want to keep getting more applications each year and hopefully increasing the funding available. So we're going to hear from our mini grant awardees here very shortly. Membership and our social media following has really increased. When I started in late August of 2018, we had only 6 members. So now here we are in October 2021, and we're nearly at 140 members. We still have a long way to go. We definitely want to up those numbers since we are in a pretty far expanding region. So we keep pushing, like Vanessa said, at events and different things we do, and to get more of those memberships. We did transition to a free membership in early 2021 due to the ongoing pandemic. A lot of people facing financial constraints, and we just didn't feel we should charge them for this sort of thing. The only people who are required to be paying members are those who apply for our mini grant funding. We figured that was just a good way to, essentially keep that grants program going and still get some income from our membership. We are going to be pursuing more corporate sponsorships and things like that as time goes on. Facebook likes and followers. That same time when I came in, we were only at around 500 to 600 followers and likes on the page. We wanted to exceed 1,000 in 2020, and we went well over that. Right now, we are sitting at over 1,800 page likes and nearly 2,000 followers. So we really want to keep that going. Our page has made a lot of progress. We're posting on the regular, different things we're doing. Our Instagram page is also growing. We like to basically load up our photo gallery on our website with that type of Instagram post. So great way to showcase the region and all the things we have going on. Promotional materials. This year we were able to release our North Branch Water Trail guides and maps. We completed that with the DCNR grant funding from round 25, and we released it in April 2021. We did that with DDH Design and our water trail managers, as well as the Susquehanna Greenway Partnership. We all kind of had a hand in, putting it all together and getting it out there. These are really cool guides. Well, we're selling them for $20 a piece plus tax, and you can get them right on our website. And we also sell them at a lot of the events we've been doing, booths and whatnot. So it's waterproof, fully waterproof, and you can take these out on the river with you, whether you're a paddler or an angler. We think it's a great thing for anyone to have if you get out on the North Branch. Our brochures that we released in 2019, which you can see to the right side of that screen, they're already nearly gone. So we're planning to update and redistribute those next year. We basically just need to update some different things. Some stuff has sadly closed. Other things, we've gotten some new heritage partners since coming out with that brochure. So we really want to showcase as many of them as we can. Our new EHMR North Branch Susquehanna River Water Trail brochures we made using the Bradford County Room Tax Grant. We've also done some signage with that. Basically at Endless Mountain Outfitters, one of our water trail managers there in Sugar Run. We were able to get some signage with that, promote some of our sojourns we had going on, and do these new brochures. So we really appreciate the tourism agency for helping us out with those projects. We're still coming out with quarterly e-newsletters. If you haven't signed up, please do. We use that doing constant contact, and we're building contacts on the regular and are currently around 600 on the mailing list. So hopefully we can make all those members as well. And, as soon as you sign up for our membership, you are automatically put on the e-newsletter list. So make sure you do that. We updated our North Branch logo, which you can see there off to the right below the brochure. We did that with SGP and are working to create consistent wayfinding signage along the entire water trail with all 4 water trail management organizations. We obviously do the Upper North Branch. So this is actually a really cool way to get us all consistent along the water trail. Basically, there's been a lot of outdated signage over the years. The water trails, essentially all the logos use that upper portion where it says Pennsylvania Water Trails, and each separate branch has its own bottom portion of the logo. So this is what we did for ours. We incorporated the Standing Stone, which is over in Standing Stone Township between Wysocks and Wyalusing. And that's really cool, iconic symbol of the North Branch. So we really wanted to include that in there. So that project is currently in phase 1, and we're about to enter phase 2. We're picking a consultant that's going to help us develop that consistent signage and different ways to basically brand the water trail. The events we held this year, we had a series of paddles. Because of a lot of the rain we got, we had to cancel a couple of them, the summer heritage paddles. We're trying to make that up with our October 2nd fall heritage paddle tomorrow. We're going to be doing that, raising money for the French's Island Historic Site. These heritage paddles, we started last year when we raised $3,200 for the Wyalusing Valley Museum. That was because they had to cancel their largest fundraiser of the year, the Wine Festival, due to COVID. So we got a paddle going, which we had 50 participants, and we were able to raise that $3,200 for them. So we kind of found a niche doing these benefit paddles, and we hope to keep them going. Basically just helps a lot of the museums and historical societies in our region that were, really decimated by COVID. We also had our family fun sojourn in June. That was from the Y Sox boat launch. We had Fish and Boat come and give a presentation, and got out on the water there at Y Sox and went down to French's Island, where we camped for the evening. That event raised funding for the Keystone Theater, and we were able to raise $500 for them. The next day, we went down from French's Island to Endless Mountain Outfitters. Had a lot of educational activities. The Keystone Theater provided a family movie on the big screen there at French's Island at the night. We had live music. It was just a really great time. So we also had our Sullivan County Hikes and Bike Series at World's End, Ricketts Glen, and the Loyalsock State Forest. The hikes went very well. We had normally between 40 and 50 participants. And they were really cool hiking challenges where they had to go to various sites that we listed and take a photo with them with their challenge cards to prove they'd been there. We also had guided hikes where they did the same thing. So whether you wanted to do it on your own or with the guided group, I think everyone had a really great time, and we thank DCNR for teaming up with us on those. We have our final event next weekend, October 9th and 10th in the Loyalsock State Forest. That's going to be a 2-day cycling trip. So we're really looking forward to that as well. EHMR booths, we've had them at a number of different locations. We are trying to be more visible in the community, which has kind of been a goal of mine since I got here. We've been doing booths at the Food, Family, and Farm Festival, the Conservation District events, the Troy Heritage, PA Heritage Festival in Troy. We even did the Endless Mountains Primitive Outdoorsman Rendezvous in Black Walnut, Wyalusing Valley Wine Festival, the Susquehanna County Ag Day, and thanks to the Visitors Bureau, they helped us put up some events or some materials at events like River Day and the local fairs. We had other events going on, so we weren't able to have a booth there. So they put out a lot of our materials for people to take and check out. So we really thank them for their help. We've been a part of a lot of great programs and committees. I sit on the Wyoming County Community Heart and Soul Programs Core Committee. I'm kind of the communications rep on that. That's a really cool program that we really hope takes off in Wyoming County. We've had a lot of great input so far. It's essentially just a way for the public to get involved in community planning. They give us ideas, different things they want to do, whether it be trails, recreation centers, what have you. They can suggest just about anything they want that they would like to see in the community, likes, dislikes, and based on that public input, we'll come up with a final project. This is going to be a 2-year process, so we're really looking forward to working with that committee. Wyoming County Greenway Trails and Open Space Plan Committee, that was kind of put on hold during the COVID pandemic, but we're getting back at it. We just had a meeting not long ago, so we want to keep that going and get that playing out for the public. Sullivan County just started their comprehensive parks, greenways, and trails plan, so I will be sitting on that committee as well. I think it's going pretty well so far. They have picked their consultant, who we will hear from today. Forest City Outdoor Town process. They are already a trail town, but the outdoor town process is something they are pursuing right now. I've been to several of those meetings that have been very well attended. So that's going to be a pretty cool project as well. We also did our NEPA Trails Forum out in Susquehanna Depot. That was actually at the Priesthood Restoration Site, where we started out and then took a nice little paddle down the river from Oakland to Ira Reynolds State Park, which they just had the ribbon cutting for. So that was a really fun trip. Our county heritage signage projects, we have completed those. We are actually expecting them to be delivered today, and then hopefully in the next couple of weeks we can get them all in the ground at the various sites. We're going to be putting up new signs at Sarahboro, Nicholson Borough, Dewshore Borough, Eaglesmere, and World's End State Park. There are already existing signs along the Merrill Parkway here in Towanda and at the Dietrich Theater in Tunkhannock. Those will just be replaced with the new signage. The other ones, other locations I mentioned will actually have to install the frame and the new signage. So essentially what these do is highlight all the heritage sites throughout each county. So when we put them in areas with heavy foot traffic, a lot of pedestrian traffic, so they can see what there is to do in their county. Different museums, trails, we have museums and historical societies on there. Just a number of different activities, parks, what have you. So they really highlight a lot of our heritage sites that we like to promote. We did these through room tax grants through the Endless Mountain Visitors Bureau and the Bradford County Tourism Agency. And we are dedicating the Bradford County heritage signs in memory of our late county commissioner and beloved EHMR board member, Ed Buston, who passed away last April. So the Bradford County signs will be dedicated in his name, and we hope to have unveilings in October or November once the signs are installed. So stay tuned for that. Our PA Route 6 facade program that we did with the PA Route 6 Alliance was very successful. We got a $103,000 grant, and our very own administrative assistant, Vanessa, was hired as the program coordinator, and she'll continue with that position. They're now moving the program out to Erie. But here it was very successful. We were able to fund 32 projects for businesses, nonprofits, and other different venues across Bradford and Wyoming counties. So with grants and matching funds, the program put over $250,000 into the local economies. So that was a very successful project. I commend Vanessa and Candace for all they did on that. It's a great program, and we hope to bring it back sometime in the future. So you'll be hearing a little bit more about that when Candace speaks later on too. We are working on our management action plan update, or MAP as we call it. We used round 25 funding to perform phase 1, which was with the Pennsylvania Association of Nonprofit Organizations and the Medita Collective. This portion of the study pertained mostly to keeping us financially stable well into the future by diversifying our funding sources, and also boosting membership and awareness for EHMR. So we've begun phase 2 using round 26 funding, and we hired Relevant Strategies and Solutions of Haddonfield, New Jersey. They are our consultant and will help draft our vision and objectives for the next 5 to 10 years based on the feedback we get from our board members, staff, the public, stakeholders, what have you. We're trying to involve as many people as we can in this process. So we had our first in-person meeting in August. We'll hear from Jill and Catherine later. They were able to see a lot of our different heritage sites and meet with some of our partners along the way. We did a trip here from the EHMR office in Towanda all the way down to Keystone College, stopping at a lot of places along the way. So they were able to check out the region and see what projects we have going on and meet some of the folks who have a lot to do with it. So we've applied for phase 3 funding in the round 27 application that I mentioned. And that's going to basically be the printing, distribution of the plan, and obviously implementation to get all that stuff going. So we're really excited about that. And I see Lynn Conrad is on here today. She'll be talking about some of the projects we funded for the Rail Trail Council. But the other day, despite it being quite rainy and wet, we did celebrate the D&H Rail Trail as PA Trail of the Year this year. It's a wonderful trail if you've never been on it. We nominated the trail in the fall of 2020, and basically follows the Delaware and Hudson Railroad route that went all the way up through Susquehanna County to New York State. And we were really happy to nominate them through DCNR. The Rail Trail Council has been a great heritage partner of ours for years. This 38-mile multi-use trail managed by the Rail Trail Council of NEPA not only engages the public in outdoor recreation, but also keeps our region's railroad history alive. And I think that's one of the main reasons we really wanted to push this trail, because not only does it deal with that outdoor recreation aspect of what we do, it also deals with the heritage aspect, that history of the region. So it's a wonderful trail. Like I said, if you haven't been on it, you can do everything from equestrian riding, hiking, cycling, snowmobiling. It has it all. So it's a really cool trail. In conjunction with Trails Month, we had that celebration earlier this week, and DCNR Secretary Cindy Dunn was there, and many other distinguished guests. It was very well attended, given how rainy it was. I was soaked because we had to, Christine Vittori from DCNR thought it'd be a great idea to cycle from Forest City up to Uniondale where we had the ceremony, and we got drenched. The rain came down really hard about a mile into it. So this prestigious designation also gave the Rail Trail Council some grant funding to perform some trail safety improvements. A lot of that was wayfinding signage and things to put along the trail to keep the public informed. So congratulations to them. So looking to 2022, this is obviously contingent upon a lot of our grant applications that we have going out. We hope to complete phase 2 of our management action plan, which we expect to be done in June or July of next year. And then we'll, like I said, if that DCNR grant is approved, we'll be able to do phase 3, doing the printing, distribution, and implementation of the plan. So we also hope to start a corporate giving program as recommended in phase 1 of our management action plan update. That would engage volunteers from regional companies and businesses in EMHR projects and events, whether that be helping out with a mini grant projects, a river cleanup, different things like that. But I think it's going to be a great way to establish partnerships with our local companies and businesses, and get more of their employees involved in the process. So we also hope to purchase a targeted mailing list that will allow the EMHR to garner more membership. That's kind of a big thing we really wanted to push. Like I said, membership is kind of what we're based on. So the more people we have as a part of this, much easier it's going to be going into the future and more sustainable. Using a Susquehanna Marcellus Legacy Fund mini grant, we just found out that we received. We will host a series of heritage management workshops with county museums, historical societies, and historic sites. We're partnering with our board member, Brian, at Leon Heritage Consulting for these workshops. It's basically going to teach these organizations who are, a lot of times volunteer-based, how to preserve a lot of the documents and artifacts and things like that properly, so we can ensure that this history is kept alive and, doesn't deteriorate. So there's a lot of different methods for preserving these items. Brian, having worked with, so many different museums and things like that, even the Smithsonian, he's well aware of, what the process is and making sure that these relics stay alive. So we really look forward to that series of workshops. We're also going to have our annual grants workshop. This year's virtual event welcomed 75 viewers. So that was probably our heaviest attended grant workshop that we've had. I know when we had it in person in early 2020, before the pandemic started, we had about 50 people at the Dietrich Theater for that, but we didn't do it in a hybrid format. So in the future, when we are able to get together again, we'll do it so people can attend in person or virtually. And I think that'll really up our attendance on that and get that information out to them. We plan to host a family sojourn, a youth sojourn, and several benefit paddles that I talked about across our region and in the lower section of the Upper North Branch. In years past, the EMHR did these paddles, but they were always in our 4-county region. So we actually want to start doing some events in the lower section where we go down into Luzerne County and things like that, since it is still a part of our waterway. So we can team up with the Lackawanna Heritage Valley, our fellow heritage area, for things like that, and hopefully establish some more partnerships and get more of the public engaged in outdoor recreation. We also plan to conduct a Susquehanna County Hikes and Bike series using the D&H Rail Trail, the O&W Trail, and the Route 292 Scenic Byway. We actually want to do a cycling trip, a road cycling trip from the Stureka Viaduct to the Nicholson Viaduct and back. This is something that Lynn Conrad has, dreamt up for a long time, and we really want to make this happen for her. So we've already reached out to PennDOT, and we're gonna start getting the route figured out and get that special event permit to get that going. And we also want to team up with the Friends of Salt Spring State Park to do a nice hiking event there. So stay tuned for those. We hope to start advertising those in early 2022. We did apply for a Endless Mountain Visitors Bureau room tax grant to promote these. So stay tuned on that. Just want to say thank you to all of our partners, all of our volunteers, anyone who, makes what we do possible, our water trail managers, the whole gambit. So really appreciate all of you for what you do and making us a successful organization. And we really look forward to working with you all in the future. So thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Excuse me, this is Marguerite speaking, and I just want to say I am just so very, very impressed with what you all are doing. And it's very heartening and enlightening to see all of this presented in this format. So thank you.
Thank you, Marguerite. We appreciate that. All right. So we are going to get moving on and into our guest speakers. So we basically are going to, divide it up by county, the different projects that we were able to fund this year and see the progress of these projects. Everyone's going to, speak for about 5 minutes and, talk a little bit about the project they have going on. So first up, we have our very own at-large member and director of the Bradford County Tourism Promotion Agency, Robin Cummings, to talk about the Troy Lions Club Foundations project. And take it away, Robin.
Thank you. I'm going to share my screen here. Of course, it wants to scroll. So I'm unsure if you're aware that I'm a member of the Troy Lions Club, and the Troy Lions Club a few years ago was asked to be a recipient of a foundation for an estate planning. And so we established the Troy Lions Club Foundation. Being a member of the Heritage Region and Kane also sitting on my board, when this became available, I made this known to our Lions Club, the work that the Heritage Region does in this mini grant program being available. So they've asked me, since I would be participating in the meeting today, to share as well what the Lions Club is able to do in the Troy area, particularly with this mini grant money, which we applied for. Coming into Troy, on the right-hand side is what we call the walkway. It's a trail connector from the downtown to Alprom Park. It is highly used by a lot of our students, as well as just avid community members that want to get out and enjoy outdoor recreation. Our goal in doing this project was primarily through just regular deterioration and the elements of the seasons. Weather, particularly in this past year, we knew that we really needed to update the walkway and the safety of the project and make it a more enhanced connector to the park. And so this is when we were able to work together with the Heritage Region, and they were able to step in and help us. So we were thrilled for that. So the walkway is the path that runs along the hill, the junction of Route 6 and Firehouse Lane in Troy. Back in the 70s, as you can see here, members of the Lions were concerned about residents walking directly along Route 6 with no, right along the road, and there was no pathway at all for safety and security. And since then, the Lions Club has continued to maintain that pathway that is cut each year. Generally in the spring and also in the fall, as we see more kids that are walking to practices or going to the pool or to the fair. So we like to make sure that we are maintaining that and the entryway into Troy. So and the need became known in 2020 when the storm came through and it damaged the trees that held a lot of the pathway lighting that was there. And while it was already a bit outdated, we knew that we needed to really update. We needed to update the walkway lighting, but we also needed to add more lighting, and we wanted to brand Troy in a way that connected that walkway to the downtown Troy, so it all kind of came together as one brand, one look for Troy. So the idea was the matching grant from the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation Resources, as well as the Bureau of Recreation and Conservation. heritage and other parks administered through the Endless Mountains Heritage Region through the mini grant program. So this matching grant, we were able also to contribute some money towards this and installing 9 beautiful vintage style lantern lights along the path, which actually I see got concluded this week, this project, which began back in June. And roughly the Troy Lions Club has approximately 67 active members. And at least so far, we've had over 47 participants with 124 man hours into the project so far. Signage will be going up next week, and we're hoping that we can set a time with Kane to have an official lighting ceremony and dedication of the new lighting project on the pathway. On the left, you'll see a couple of our volunteers working together, and then the path view from the pathway as you across from the Tops Market in Troy. Continued signage. We've had a lot of community volunteers as well that are outside of the Troy Lions Club help participate, particularly Greg Jones. As you see in the upper right-hand side, he is a retired contractor from the Troy area who has a lot of great useful equipment that we were able to bargain with him on. He volunteered those services and his equipment to help us lighten the load. And as you can see, there's a number of members working together here. Even a little lion you can see there. Installing conduit, new lighting, new wiring, removals of trees and brush, all working together here. And then you can see on the right-hand side, the light, the first time it's being turned on, you can see it is a nice match to the lights that are in the downtown of Troy. So again, the signage will be installed acknowledging the grant and working with the Heritage Region. Those signs are available now, and we are going to have an official lighting ceremony of which we can set that time up with Kane. And we would hope that anyone that would like to participate would certainly be more than welcome to join us. We know that this project has been quite costly. It came in around $10,000, $11,000. And we know that this project, regardless of the time and effort of the individuals and the volunteers from Troy Lions Club, it would have been years in the making and fundraising. And had it not been for this mini grant that we were able to get with the Heritage Region. And we are just incredibly grateful. And we've had a lot of nice comments back from the community on how that brands the community together, but how it enhances the town and how it really connects the town to our outdoor recreation, green spaces with the park. And while we maintain that, we certainly cannot take all the credit for this project because it wouldn't have happened without the support of the Heritage Region. And so we are entirely very, very grateful. The town of Troy, as well as the school district particularly, are very well aware of the support received from the Heritage Region for this project. So we thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Robin. We appreciate it. All right, we're going to move on to David Jarrett from Sarah Borough to talk about the project they have going on.
Good morning. Can everyone hear me?
Sure can, Dave. Thank you.
Thank you. First, thank you very much for the opportunity to present here today and the opportunity to apply for and receive grant funding from the organization. Our project is the Cuyahoga Trail project that's in Sayre. It started as a concept in 2014 by an organization called Futurescapes, which was created soon after the historic flooding in 2011. They came up with an idea of constructing a trail along the Susquehanna River connecting Athens Borough and Sayre Borough. They began the process to apply for grant funding in 2017, and in 2018 they received a $264,000 grant from DCNR that required local matches from the boroughs, and we were very fortunate to have Bradford County contribute $10,000 towards the project, as well as the Guthrie Healthcare System. So when the bid was awarded, the bids came in higher than the amount of money available, but we knew we could at least get a portion of the project started. In the meantime, we applied for a second grant that we were successful receiving from DCED. Those two grants combined provided more than $400,000 and allowed us to construct the trail that begins at Susquehanna Street in Athens Borough and continues along the Susquehanna River past the now recently renovated Valley Playland. Goes down into the wooded area behind our sewage treatment plant. And I'll tell you, it's not as bad as people may think to walk by there. You come out into Riverfront Park in Sayre, where we were able to construct with grant funding a new boat launch, renovate the existing boat launch, but make it much more improved. The trail continues through the park and then ends at the area we call the Higgins Hayden Trailhead. So the main trail itself is about 2 miles long. It's constructed with trail surface aggregate. And then back into Riverfront Park area, we have a couple trail spurs off the main section. And then we actually we're just about finished with a new spur we put up along Thomas Avenue in Sayre. So for those of you who are not familiar with Sayre and Athens boroughs, both communities are dissected by railroad tracks. And to be able to construct the trail, specifically at Athens Borough, it begins 1 block from their downtown, and in Sayre Borough, it ends about 2 blocks from the downtown. The grant funding we received from Endless Mountains Heritage Region is to connect where phase 2 ends to where phase 3 will begin in 2022. We received a third grant for about $100,000 from DCD to construct the third and final phase of the trail across the top of our levee system. So it'll essentially add about 3/4 of a mile more of paved walking surface. And then it'll stop at North Thomas Avenue, right across the street from a very large parking area for Guthrie, but also connects to a new bridge that will be replaced or will be constructed later this year. Then pedestrians could then go north across the new bridge and then connect to existing trail system in Athens Township that takes you up into Waverly, New York. So all in all, from taking a concept, nearly 8 years ago to what has been able to be constructed today, it is nothing short of amazing, given the fact that your 2 municipalities work together, which isn't always easy to do. You had volunteers that stayed on even when it got tough, specifically Todd Babcock and Linda Paletti, that saw it through and never gave up. Engineering firms helped out and donated labor. They were CEC Engineering and Stifler McGraw. And then our contractor was Glenn O'Habaker, whose crew went above and beyond. We were able to make adjustments on site when needed. It's an example of, I'm sure as a lot of folks' trails have been this year, if you build it, they will come. There got to a point in 2020 where you really couldn't do anything. So people went for a walk. You see them throughout the day, all different ages, people running on it, people biking on it, walking their dogs, friends, a focal point. Riverfront Park in Sayre is a focal point year round. Springtime and summertime, you have baseball with the high school and the Little League. You have the boat launch. You have a nice pavilion where there's exercise groups come up and yoga groups come in and do that. Arts for All, which formerly was Arts Fest, that was held in Athens, moved to Sayre last year and had a very successful event. We have our end of summer celebration in August that attracts nearly 4,000 people for that event. And it all ties into accessibility to the downtown. Even though we're dissected by the tracks in town, you could walk up over the bridge and be at the park and to the trail in 2 blocks. And then once you're in town, there's an existing walk route through Guthrie Health Works that goes around the downtown and around Island Pond and the medical campus. So it was a very surprisingly successful project from beginning to end. And the funds that we received from Endless Mountains said enabled us to construct the connector that's already in place. And then 2022, we'll start construction on the final phase.
Thank you very much, David. I know the Sarah Business Association is working along with the other surrounding municipalities to put on a really cool triathlon event next year. So
Yeah,
I think that they're going to incorporate some of the trail in that. So we're really looking forward to it. I sit on that committee as well. So.
Yeah, there's other 5Ks in the area. Pound the Ground for ultrasound. It used to be downtown. Now they use the trail. The Bradford County Half Marathon is going to start in Riverfront Park this weekend. And it really, you know, we stand up on the hill looking down at the park at least once a week and are just amazed of how much the trail system is used. And, you know, I walk on it generally in the fall and through the winter. Then you always see people. And I'm fortunate because I can wear a hat and sunglasses and walk the trail and they don't know who I am. And to get the feedback from the people of how great and they really like it and how excited they are for the third phase.
Thank you very much. It's a great project.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we have Morgan Clinton from the Wyalusing Valley Museum. Morgan.
I'm going to see if I can share my screen here. Okay. Is it? I've got a spinning thing.
We see a screen broadcast.
Okay. How do I get it?
If you
Here we go. All right, hold on a second. Does it look like a presentation?
There you
now?
go. We've got it.
All right, very good. So our mini grant this year was for paint and gutters on the museum's Lodge Hall building. And we acquired this building at the end of 2015. It has played a pretty significant part in the town's history. And most recently had been the Masonic Lodge for the Wyalusing Masons. They donated it to the Wyalusing Valley Museum at the end of 2015. And we got a Keystone grant and a different EMHR mini grant to do a preservation plan for the building. As you can see in these pictures, one of the things that definitely needed was a coat of paint. One of the unique things about our area is that we do have a lot of commercial wooden structures still in place. And this building still has its original wooden siding on 3 sides and a lot of original woodwork. We did have to do some other repair work to the cornice that separates the first floor from the second floor, which was done with a Route 6 facade grant. And that was completed just in time to apply for this mini grant to do the paint and the gutters. So in the process, we uncovered, while they were doing the scraping, so we had to make it look worse before it got better. We uncovered some of the original windows, which had been boarded up with a press board, which the pictures are not going to convey how bad the press board looked. It looked much worse in person than it does in the photos, but it was really nice to open these up. You can see on the right, the original IOOF window sign that was over a doorway that was on the right side of the building, which you'll see in a future picture. But originally, when the building was first built, one of its main uses was for the Independent Order of Oddfellows group that was in Wyalusing. So one of the challenges for this project was working around the electrical lines, which you can see run pretty close to the building. We also have a pretty high on the worst side, which is the lower side, it's 3 stories high. And on the side they're on now, it's about 2 stories high, but it's pretty tall. So using the lifts, having a professional crew come in who could work around the wires was really essential. And you can see in the first floor of the building there, you can see where we uncovered that original doorway and the Oddfellows window sign. And then here's some before and after pictures. So before and after, we did take down the shutters and are just leaving them down for the moment. Our goal eventually will be to restore the storefront windows that were originally on the first floor of the building. But in the meantime, we've now gotten a nice coat of paint on there to help continue to preserve the wood, as well as a gutter system to keep water away from the foundations. So thank you very much for helping us out with that project. We think the building looks much, much better now. And we really appreciate the support from Endless Mountains Heritage Region.
Thanks, Morgan. And I know our consultants, Jill and Catherine, were really happy to see it during their in-person trip here in August. So it was cool to see it all finished up and looking all pretty. So,
yes.
Thanks very much. So next we have Matt Carl from the Leroy Heritage Museum. Matt has been working with Leroy for a long time and also is the Bradford County Historical Society director as well. So we appreciate him. I know he's applied for both projects before, both organizations. So thanks very much, Matt.
Yep. See if I'm doing the right thing here. You see the presentation?
Sure can.
All right. So this is a building Leroy Heritage Museum has been working on for 5 years. The museum started back in 2001, and in 2015, we acquired this building in order to expand the museum, which had outgrown the first place, and the first place the Heritage Region had helped us with. And so we were looking for a place that we could move just the museum to and then keep the research collection we have in the first building. So I put in here some older pictures of the building so you understand where it came from. This building was built 125 years ago. This month, actually, it was finished. So it's kind of an interesting anniversary. We're just now completing the building this year. This was a hotel built by the Lewis brothers, who had a sawmill on Barkley Mountain. And in addition to the sawmill operation they ran this hotel down in Leroy, had a store. The post office was there, their lumber offices, and a ballroom was upstairs. And so this building has been very prominent in the center of Leroy for many years. And so this is a picture of the building when it was in its original state. This is a picture from the other side, just giving an idea of what was originally there. It's in many ways much the same today. The only things missing are that front porch and the dormer window and the chimney above it. Otherwise, everything is still there in place. This is a postcard showing it. It had an addition on the side at one time as well. And this was taken in the 1930s, just before the front porch was taken off. And the project we did this year was a painting project on this building. And we were looking for inspiration on what to paint the building, because those pictures I just showed you don't really give an accurate portrayal of what it was. So this particular picture shows that in the 1930s, the trim color was white, and there's diamonds up in the gable ends that are white as well. And then whatever the siding was darker. So we went by that. And most people remember that the building was green and white going back at least to the 40s. And so the next thing we did is chip off some layers of paint on a part of the building where it had built up over the years, and got back to what it originally was, right above the bare wood, and discovered that there was a light green color on there. So we decided to go with the green and white, but not the way that it had originally looked, at least in the years that I remember it, which was what this looks like, kind of a forest green and white. And that color was dark enough that you couldn't see many of the architectural details up in the gable ends and in the tower there. So we were looking for something that would be a little bit different. And this picture shows the other side as well. And that's what it looked like up until about 2006. A couple purchased the property in 2006 and painted it again, and came up with this color scheme, which has been on there since then, but it's been quite a while since then. And so it had deteriorated quite a bit. There was some rotting wooden shingles around there, and they had hired someone at some point to come in and repaint the yellow part, and he didn't color match the paint, so it was a completely different shade, and that's how it's looked since then. So in the meantime, we've also changed things back that had been changed before we got there. This window on this side first floor had been turned into a door. We took that back out and put all the original back in, and replaced the siding and primed it. And then other parts of the building, we had changed out siding. We had replaced cedar shakes up in the gable ends and added different features that we had to do as a result of code requirements. And so with all of this multicolor house, we had to come up with a different paint scheme. And so we ended up with an olive green color for the siding part. And then for the shakes up above, there was a lighter green part. It's an East Lake Victorian house. And so we tried to come up with something that would fit historically, and then use white for the trim to kind of match the pictures that we had. And this was a back picture of the house just before we started painting. And so we hired Rogers Painting out of Burlington. They do a good job with especially older houses, and they've done Victorian houses before. And so they were well acquainted with that. And so this is a picture after they began and started power washing and also hand scraping various parts, depending on what part of the house it was. So we realized it was in much worse condition than we even thought it was when we started. And this just shows a few different side views of them after it was power washed. So then they went back and they went through several cases of recaulking everything. The previous owner had put in new windows, but had never caulked around any of the windows. And there were holes and cracks and things. It had been several years. So they did that, and then they hand primed all the way around the building using lifts and ladders and whatever they needed. And this is them climbing even to the third story to hand paint that. And they covered up all of the windows and then went to spraying the main colors on. And they sprayed the colors multiple times. And so there were multiple coats of paint on there. And then they went back with brushes and hand painted again over top of that areas where the wood was rough or the spray didn't quite get in there. So they made sure that it turned out really well. And there was actually a place on the building we had to take a piece of the siding off and replace it in the middle of the painting project. And when we did, we noticed that the paint was almost like rubber when we took it off. So it obviously was a good job done. They used Sherwin-Williams paint and did a good job with that. So for a while, it looked kind of crazy around the building. And then they started painting the lighter colored green on the top. And I was a little bit scared when I came home one day and saw the paint color that they started with, which was the lighter color green, because it looked fluorescent in the sunlight. But after they got going with it, the painter said, just hold on and just wait, because when the other colors get on there, it will hopefully look a lot better. So this is the color scheme we ended up with. And so the siding was the darker green, kind of an olive green color, and we went lighter green on the gable ends on any place where there were shakes. On the back part on the gable ends, they were siding, so we painted those green. And then everything else was trimmed in white to match all of the railings and the things we had to put on there that were more modern. And then anything that was standing out, such as we had to put line hide on the building for heating and cooling for the ballroom upstairs, and some other things. They painted everything to blend into the background. And they really did a great job doing that. When you just glance at the building driving past, you don't notice all of the different features on the side that aren't historical but had to be there. They did a good job with that. This is a picture of the back side of the building. We had previously added on, we call that the bridge in the back. It's a fire escape. It's not a handicap accessible feature, but it could be for that purpose. But it's more for loading things into the second floor without having to put in an elevator. So that was the reasoning for building that. But it added a lot of white railings and things on there. So white on the building sort of tied everything together. So the building with its final paint job, this is what it looks like. They went up and painted the diamonds around the top, which are all original. All of the shakes up on there that you see that are in different shapes. There's diamonds, there's regular shakes, and there's scallops. All of those are original to 1896, and some of the scallops around the base all the way around we replaced. There's some more that has to be replaced on the end there, but they did a great job repainting all of those, and most of that up above had to be done by hand because of the type of woodwork that was going on up there. Down on the side, there is a curved wall there in a room that was a sunroom, and it has some architectural features, and they went right in and hand painted. There's a fan kind of bracket type feature there that they hand painted so that it would stand out against the rest of the house. And they did a nice job with doing that. And again, all of that is original to the building of the house. That's not even been redone. So this is one of the reasons why we were interested in this place as the new museum, because it's very much in its original state. That's another picture of that side of the house. During the project, we took out a giant metal exhaust fan that stuck out of the side of the building right above these windows, and got rid of that, closed all that up, and they repainted that. So it's back to its historic look. This is up on the side. So just to give you an idea of the shakes that are up on there, which you don't notice when you're driving by, but if you stop and look closely, it's interesting that all of that has remained in place for 125 years. And this is on the front of the building. There's actually a stained glass window there in the center. There was more stained glass that was previously taken out, although we still have it. And then the tower as well.
Hey, Matt, sorry to interrupt. We do have a lot more presentations to get to, though. It looks great, though.
We're right at the end.
All right.
This is the staining that we did on the porch at the very end of the project. And this is the final picture. So there it is.
It looks great. Having been out there and touring the inside too, which is really cool. If any of you haven't been inside, it's a really cool structure. Beautiful architecture for sure. Well, thanks very much, Matt. We appreciate it. Looks
Okay.
great. Even better than the last time I was there. So. All right. Next, we have Marguerite Fox-Picu from the Riverside Cemetery Association. I understand I'm going to be running your slides for you, Marguerite. Marguerite, are you with us? You're muted.
Now, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, if you would run my slides, that would be awesome.
All right.
Okay.
Here you are.
All righty. Hi. My presentation today is basically about giving new life and purpose for a dead place. And the pun is intended because we are talking about a cemetery here. And I want to start by thanking EHMR and the Bradford County Commissioners for recognizing the potential for this unique and frankly delicate project and property. To acquaint you with the property, I want to start by showing you some pretty pictures. So here is, hang on here just a second. This is just basically shows our property sign and some old markers. And continuing to the next slide, obviously this is a very beautiful location. It shows, you can see the Susquehanna River, among other things. Continuing on, it is the oldest public access cemetery in Bradford County. And I will talk about that in another moment or two. Continuing with the slide, the property has loads of history. This particular shot is of the first first monument, I would say, to the Civil War veterans, Union veterans in Bradford County. And the tablet that you see on the bottom there was originally installed in the ground, and it was visited and revered for a number of years, and then over time just became neglected. And several years ago, the Sons of the Union Veterans came to us and said, you know, we would really like to help you and showcase this tablet. So over the period of a couple of years, they built this structure, and it exists now as you see it. And just as a side note, those red, white, and blue planters there were provided by a neighbor. So that is just one of many elements of history on the property. Continuing from there, with a previous grant from EHMR and participation by Towanda Borough, we were able to install benches for viewing the Susquehanna River and the canyon, the river canyon, and the flora and fauna on the property. And you can see that this picture was taken sort of at the beginning of a growing season. Continuing from there, the benches, most of the benches have backs on them. These two in particular do not. And that is a photo of a beginning of a place to have a chat. Going on from there, the property is also very much a place to honor our veterans. And every year the VFW and American Legion and other of our service representative organizations holds a Memorial Day ceremony there. And again, you can see this is Memorial Day. We're still in the beginning of the growing season. So to give you some basic facts, established in 1800, the cemetery is Bradford County's oldest cemetery open to the public for burials. Other cemeteries, there are other cemeteries that are older in Bradford County, but most of them were private, family, or religious church properties. So you had to have certain membership or standing to be buried in those. but this one was the first one with Y'all Come. As you've seen, the beautiful views include the river, its canyon, and also from there, and I'm sorry I don't have a picture of this, but you can see the Veterans Memorial Bridge, and you can see the county courthouse in Towanda, and again, much of the area, flora, fauna, and the property itself. Speaking to cemetery facts too, there are more than 2,000 people buried in the cemetery, and it includes many of Bradford County's founders, not just Towanda's founders, but Bradford County founders. And there are more than 160 veterans buried therein, dating from the Revolutionary War. And they're in this scenic 5.5 acre property. The veterans actually span from the Revolutionary War, there are 4 of them, and clear up through the Vietnam War, and there is one person buried there. This next point is very significant in our thinking because it's a premier riverfront property in the center of downtown Towanda, which is also the Bradford County seat. Today, it is highly unlikely that a cemetery would be located there. Instead, there might be a multi-story hotel with a rooftop pool and restaurant, or otherwise the property developed with expensive homes. Continuing with the facts, there has not been a burial or interment of any kind on the property in 12 years. And it's thereby rendered as an inactive burial location. So the question has become, what to do with this beautiful place besides maintaining it by keeping it mowed, landscaped, and the markers repaired. Well, one answer is, and it is only one answer, is to develop it into an enhanced historic site. The property is already on the National Register of Historic Places, and it is actually located in the heart of Towanda's historic district. And it is connected, even maybe not officially, but it is still connected to the Merrill Parkway Riverfront Walkway and to the trail systems of Towanda Borough and the Endless Mountains Heritage Region. This latter point, there's a lot of work to be done to forge that connection, but it actually physically exists. The challenge is that just walking or driving by the property, people can't know who's buried in it and why they are interesting or important. So one way to address this is, among other things, to install signage. And our grant from EHMR and matched by the Bradford County Commissioners will enable initial production and installation of the Veterans Walkway project. There will be 25 veterans graves marked by special signage and locatable, if that's a word, by GIS, courtesy of Bradford County mapping. The question or the selection of the 25 veterans of the 160 has come by a combination of suggestions from the American Legion, the Sons of the Union Veterans, the Bradford County Historical Society, and with final selections made by the Riverside Cemetery Association. The question arises, why only 25 of 160 plus veterans? Well, one reason is to guard against visual blight by having too many signs. The cemetery, as you saw in previous photos, there are lots of markers there. Not everyone buried in the cemetery has a marker, but there are reasonably, probably 1,800 to 2,000 markers. So if you're going to add a bunch of signage, that kind of adds to the total visual picture. And the other thing is that we want to make it a reasonably doable experience. Sometimes, like let's say if we had 160 veteran signs, somebody might feel compelled to see all of them, well, it's just not a friendly approach. And the other reason why only 25 of the 160 veterans is because, next slide, please, and drum roll, a 25 signed GSI locatable civilian walkway of Bradford County's founders is envisioned next. The founders, William Means and so on, they're just all kinds of people who actually created Towanda and created Bradford County. And so that is a project, beyond this veterans walkway. Here you see a sample veterans sign. And this one is just one of the 4 from the Revolutionary War. And there are only 4 Revolutionary War soldiers, but they're extremely important because they helped found our country. So basically this sign is going to be a brushed gold aluminum sign with forest green lettering, and then including a symbol that represents the Revolutionary War. And in the bottom left of this sign, you can see, obviously that's not a real GIS coordinate, but that's how the GIS coordinate number will be, imposed or engraved on the sign. So envision, 25 of those signs. Therefore, the current plan is for 2 marked walkways totaling 50 signs. We have the property is 5.5 acres. And so this will average 10 signs per acre. And that does not include the half acre that is comprised of the 5 roadways that run through the property. And that I probably should have included a map that shows you where the roadways are. So the ultimate net result is to add honor and remembrance and acknowledgement to those interred in the Riverside Cemetery. And also to add value and interest and usefulness to the community for the Bradford County, and the property. Just to add to this for the moment here, we ended up digitizing the records that were in the cemetery office for 210 years. And those are accessible through the Bradford County Historical Society on its website. If you go to the Library and Research tab on the Historical Society website, then there's a listing for the Riverside Project. And so anyway, ultimately, you can research people who are buried in the cemetery through that site, but then too, you will have this now outdoor option. So that pretty much sums it up. I want to repeat that this is a delicate project. When we first presented this, started kind of shopping this project to different interests and opportunities in the county, we encountered some resistance because people thought that some people thought that it might be sacrilegious in some way or disrespectful. But the prevailing wisdom now is that it actually will, again, add honor and recognition and provide a different type of outdoor experience for visitors to Towanda and Bradford County. I'm open to any questions or comments.
Thank you very much, Marguerite. We appreciate it.
Okay.
So next, we're going to move on to.
I have a quick comment if I could, please.
Sure.
So one of the things that that is in your cemetery that needs to be brought to light, and I've talked to Matt Carl about that, is David Wilmot. And on his tombstone is the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, which abolishes slavery. He, Matt and I are going to be, and I think all museums, the county's got to take a different look at supporting our history in this county. But I think that is a huge benefit that has not been at all promoted in our county, and we need to do it. This guy he's the father of the Republican Party, Pennsylvania, and I think Matt could talk a little bit about it. That one grave site is of, I believe, national importance.
Well,
That's all I got.
I would agree with you, and that will follow on as part of the civilian walkway, tentatively titled Tales of the Town. It's certainly the Wilmot proviso and the Wilmot representation, not only of the county, but in the national picture is huge. And so I appreciate your comment, and we will look forward to working with you to help that happen. Thank you.
Thank you both. Really appreciate it.
Hey,
So next we
Kane?
have
Kane,
yes.
I think Elaine Poost has a question. She has her hand raised.
Go ahead, Elaine.
I actually have a comment, and I sent this to Marguerite. I grew up in Battle Creek, Michigan. Kellogg's, Post, Sojourner Truth is also buried in a beautiful cemetery, very similar to this. And they do an annual event where they reenact the lives of these different people. And it's a really huge and fun event. And I'm sure the BCREC or the WRP players would be interested in creating something like that at that cemetery. I know we've talked about it before, but it's another way of bringing life to history.
Right. Your comment is greatly appreciated. I want to state for people that back in 2018, we had a community workshop in which we invited people to participate and to put forth ideas for utilizing and enhancing the cemetery. And certainly among them were things like, we're not going to have any bouncy houses or, skateboard paths or anything on this property, but, such things as art and music displays, lighting festivals, and then all other kinds of things, such as what you have just now mentioned. And just to continue momentarily, once upon a time, this cemetery was the only cemetery in this area, only public cemetery. And it occupied a huge presence in the community. And that has certainly gone by the wayside over the years. So as we work gingerly to make progress on this, your continued interest or renewed interest and participation will be greatly appreciated. Thank you very much, Elaine.
All right. Elaine, you can actually continue on with your presentation if you want. And folks, we are running a little bit behind, so if you could keep your presentations to the 5 minutes or less, we'd really appreciate it. We do have some more speakers, our guest speakers too.
Okay, thank you, Kane, and also thank you to Vanessa for all the support that you've been giving to us and through the mini grants that we've gotten for the last 3 years now. We actually got our first one for I think 1920. And it was for our Young Explorer program. Our Young Explorer program actually was inspired by the Lackawanna College Early Explorers. They do a very similar program down at their environmental center in Covington Township, where I would drive my granddaughter to, and thought an hour and a half is a long way to go for a couple of hours. And wouldn't this be great to have in Bradford County? So the fact that we were able to get funding through you to bring this to Bradford County has been really wonderful. The Young Explorers is really a program that taps into the natural curiosity of children ages 3 to 6. And we do that through literature, outdoor exploration, and creative activities. The program is designed for the young child and a responsible adult. So we started out as an in-person program, and we had a combination of mothers, grandfathers, and grandmothers at the in-person programming. I had to switch laptops, so I don't actually have the slideshow, so I just have some photos for you. So this is this was actually the last in-person program that we did, and it was about seeds. And this that you're looking at is the art project piece of it.
We're not seeing your screen. I'm sorry. Do you know how to screen share? Do you have those photos to screen share?
Yep. Can you see it now?
Nope.
Nope. I started the video, so I'm not sure. Oh, there we go. Can you see it now?
No, we're still looking at a black screen. Oh, here we go. Something's happening.
Yep, it popped up for a second, so maybe just give it another.
I'm having a little unstable internet.
Okay, it might just be that, yeah, it might just be that it's not going to let us share, but you can still talk while it's trying to share.
Okay.
So we can still hear you.
So we actually partnered with the Environmental Conservation Group, and we were meeting at the Stoll Nature Center Education Room, but we had to move to the Keystone for one series on seeds. It happened to be the day before we got shut down for COVID. So one of the things that we joking about is I had to tell the kids to stop licking the mirrors because 3-year-olds touch and lick everything. And then we came into COVID. So our program, which was in person, we had to lean into the fact that we weren't going to be open. And so we then took this program to a mail kit program. And it actually expanded our reach from just the children who were in the Towanda, Bradford County region. And we were reaching into Sullivan County, Wyoming County, and a little bit into New York State with our mailboxes. It also added to the expense of it because we had to then take the story that we're reading and buy a book for each child and buy the science equipment, whether it was magnifying glasses or screens to make paper or whatever the theme we were working on. We had to incorporate that in these mail kits that we mailed home. And then we started getting requests from the families. Oh, this is great, but I have another 3-year-old, or we've got a sibling. And so we started packing more of the pieces, one book and more activities and science equipment for the children to do. One of the things that we decided that we added to the program that the Lackawanna College did not have was a journal. So each child has their own research journal and they decorate it. And the idea is that children become patrons of the arts, they become lovers of the environment, and they become researchers if you tap into it early enough and create that love and curiosity. And what we do with that journal is after we've done a story and a nature activity, looking at the inside of a seed, what do things in your garden come from, what comes from a seed, and then the seed mosaic, just to use that theme, we used an artist and we created a mosaic out of seeds. And then we give them their journal, and we encourage the parents to be involved in this process all along. And the prompts that we give the parents in every kid and every in-person session that we did is to prompt what they're going to put in that journal, because they're mostly going to be drawing and not writing too much. But we ask them, what did they learn on the outside? So that's all of your 5 senses. And then we ask them, what did you learn on the inside? What did it make you think or believe or be curious about? So that those two pieces of information are the things that eventually become the things that researchers do. What did I see? What did I learn? What do I think? What do I believe? What might be possible? So it's instilling that whole idea that I'm a scientist or I'm a researcher at age 3. We were hoping to go this year back to in-person, and we're still working on a plan to do that with a preschool that is attached to a senior center for the fall session, so that we could still have the young child and the older responsible adult pairing up to do that together. We will still do some mailbox mailing out of kits. We'd also like to, and we had right as COVID was hitting us, approached the Waverly Glen people. Now they're just over the state line. To get that up into the valley area and to get kids out in that natural resource. We also give them every time a natural nature hunt, a scavenger hunt that is focused on whatever the theme is for that time. So it's a really, really wonderful program. It's something that I think I know that both children and adults really love it. In fact, one of the letters that we got from a parent, and I'll just read it because it really hits all the pieces. Dear BCREC, I'm writing to express how much my children have enjoyed participating in the Young Explorer program, from their excitement in receiving a package in the mail to their delight reading the books over and over again, and the fun we have had with the project. It's truly been a gift for the whole family during this period of limited outings and social interaction. The Young Explorer kits have fueled my children's love of nature and curiosity about the world around them and inspired me with your creativity. Thank you for your efforts to enrich the lives of children and adults of this community. Danielle Noggle. So that's the magic of working with children, is that you also, when you bring in everybody else gets a benefit from it. And we are learning about our natural world around us. And so thank you very much. That's the program.
Thank you, Elaine. We really appreciate it. And this is a really wonderful program. So, all right. Next, we have, moving on to Susquehanna County, we have our friend Lynn Conrad from the Rail Trail Council of NEBA. How are you, Lynn?
Good. How are you?
Did you get dry and warm after the other day?
Yes, I did.
All right.
Now I have to see if I could share my screen. Oh, there I am. Oh dear. Where is my screen? I thought I was just going to go to my PowerPoint. Aha, there it is. Are you seeing this?
Hang on one second. Let's see. I do not see it yet.
Okay.
Elaine, you have to go to the bottom of your Zoom screen. And there should be a green box that says share screen.
Yeah, I already did that. So
That.
now I have to get rid of what I'm. Okay, share screen. Yeah, but it's not taking me where I want to go.
It should have another window that popped up.
Right, share PowerPoint. There it is.
There we go.
All right, I got to start at the beginning. All right, so we were given funding to rehabilitate, it's about 1.5 miles of the rail trail from Uniondale to Herrick. So for those of you who don't know where the trail is, it's on the eastern border of Susquehanna County. It starts just above Carbondale, goes through Forest City, Uniondale, Herrick Center, Burnwood, Ararat, Thompson, Storuca. It goes under the Storuca Viaduct in Lanesboro, and it ends at the New York border. So that is 38 miles. And as Kane mentioned, we are we were nominated and awarded Trail of the Year for Pennsylvania 2021. And of course, he was the person who put in the application for this. So we are very happy that he did a great application and we were awarded. So we did have our little ceremony this week in the pouring rain, and we unveiled that sign. So thank you, Kane.
Thank you for help with the application.
Yes. So what we planned to do was this section of trail was resurfaced back in 2005, 2006. And we were one of the first rail trails, and it was suggested we use this really fine, sandy-like surfacing, and it just didn't last. It didn't firm up well. So you can see Bodie here making tracks and also bike tracks. So it was a very soft surface whenever it rained. Most of the trail was resurfaced with some, when UGI put in a gas pipeline project. But we never got up to this section, which included the Uniondale Trailhead. And it's a very busy trailhead. It's our office, it's next to the cable store. People would often bike up here to see the caboose and then get lunch at the deli. And we always have events here. So if you see the trail as it was, it had a lot of sod on it as well. So this is kind of what we plan to do. And actually this project just took place 2 days before our Trail of the Year award. So it started last Saturday and it was finished up on the day of the Trail Award. So you can see they put some surfacing down. This is called, it's called like a trail surface aggregate. We have a new supplier that we wanted to try. It's also called 1/2 inch minus, so that all the stone is less than 1/2 inch, but it has a lot of fines in it. So it's brought in with dump trucks and it's put into a spreader and then it's spread down the trail. So we were able to do this for, it's a little over a mile that was done with the funding we got. And I also want to thank Endless Mountains Heritage Region for helping us get some additional funding to do some directional signage, which let people know how to get from 171 to the trail. It parallels the trail, but now it tells you where to turn at the different trailheads. And that's it. Quick and easy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that signage we got through last year's Susquehanna County Marcellus Legacy Fund grants. So that's been a great program for us to get some funding out of Susquehanna County and help out with a lot of these projects. So thank you very much, Lynn.
Thank you.
All right. So next on the list, we have Tom and Sally Roberts from Clifford Township Community Park. And I understand I will be doing their slides as well.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us today, you two.
You're welcome.
All right, I'm going to pull that up.
Okay.
Can everybody see that?
Yes.
All right.
Perfect. Yes. And congratulations, Lynn, on your award. It's very commendable. We'd like to start out with showing you pictures of what this year's grant is all about. And it was three in particular projects going on. On the left, you see a hiking trail that was actually forged, I believe, in around 2019 by volunteers in our township. And then it was blazed by a local Boy Scout group at a later point. And this is what it looks like as of 2019. We haven't been able to get across the creek this year because of the raging waters and all of the rain that we've had. The project that is going for the trail is just to put some picnic tables and benches up there. In the middle is the bigger part of the trail. It's a 10.99 piece of property that was purchased actually, I'm sorry, I think it was 7.99 piece of property that was purchased with the help from DCNR. And now with the help of EHMR, we're going to be putting a soccer field in there this year. And again, with all the delays in the rain, you could see that it was muddy in the beginning of the year. And later we'll show you a chart of where it is now. On the right is our project to repair the riparian buffer. We had a lot of storms take out trees, and you can see a little bit of a gap there where we want to put 6 trees in all total. And I have to say that I forgot to mention that I am on the grant committee, and with me, Tom Roberts, who is the vice chair of the Park and Rec Committee. We're both organizations that are totally volunteer. And we'll move on to the next chart to show you the progress. As of this date, the soccer fields were received in September, and they're temporarily set in place. And if you have any questions about the soccer field itself, Tom is here to answer that. They will be moved and put permanently in place, I believe, after the field dries out and we know what we're going to be doing. As of right now, we still have what they're referring to as the duck pound in the middle of the field. That still requires a lot of drainage. And we do have contractors working in place on getting those fields in order. Yet to be done for this year's grant is 6 trees for the repair and buffer. And we understand that the best time to plant is in the fall. 3 benches. We are going to purchase 2 ADA compliant picnic tables, trash cans, and recycle bins. And again, as a note, the muddy conditions in the rising water of the east branch of the Tunkhannock caused by the extreme weather prevented the amenities and the hiking trails, and also delayed progress on the soccer field. And we understand that most outside organizational activities had the same problem with the rain. We can move on. This is the soccer field as it stands today. As you can see, there's still some muddy places there, but down on the left is the new soccer fields that we have just purchased. They are the deluxe goals, and they're not in place permanently yet. The one shows a path with the Y. You can see a broader scope of the field. And at the one at the top, again, just shows where the soccer field was on the original property. And then we can move on. This is just a pictorial. It is a map that was developed by a resident in township, and it shows people when they're coming into the trail, where the trails are. And you can see in the left and the light green is the hiking trails we're talking about up in the newly purchased property. In the back, up in the top, you can see where the soccer fields are going. And if you look real close down in the bottom, you could see where the Little League field is. And then there's some more property that was purchased over to the right. And next, please. This is just to provide a brief history to show us what organization has helped us grow over the years since 2006. And there was a 7-year gap. In 2013, we had an opportunity to purchase, with the help of township funds, 10 acres. And then Walking Paths came along in EHMR from each EHMR grant. And it was about that time that the township supervisors decided to develop and award the people to be on the Park and Recreation Board and the grant committee, which led to all the following recommendations and approvals that you see here. In 2014, we had DCNR, again, township money purchased a property and township funds, which led to the leasing to the Historical Society, which is going to be Sandy Wilmon's briefing behind mine. Park amenities, donated benches from many people in the community, the land acquisitions, playgrounds, interpreted trails, and heated restaurants. And some of these things you'll see. Most important at the last is the future projects, where we will be building 2 bocce courts. The supervisors are currently working with the Special Olympics to put in 2 bocce courts for those folks to practice. Go on the next chart, please. Pedestrian bridge. We'll get to the pedestrian bridge at the last chart. This is just a brief look at what the township looked like, the property looked like prior to all the enhancements. And I believe the time frame of these pictures was 2013. It was a mess. It took one of our residents, volunteers. I will mention him by name. He's been wonderful, Larry Wilson. He took it all out, and it is what it is today because of people and volunteers like Larry. We can move on. This was the Little League and it still is in place. It has
Regulation.
the regulation and the bricks for the dugouts is what I was trying to get at, were donated by a local businessman and built in around the 2006, 2005 timeframe. And that is in place now and it's very popular. These are other amenities. The top left is the multi-purpose court with the help of DCNR. The benches on the right, many of them were donated by public residents. And the two pictures on the bottom are pictures of the walking paths that were a result of the DCNR grant back in the 2014-2015 area. Since then, the fields have, walking paths have grown substantially. So we can move on. Up at the top, township money purchased this small 2 to 5 playground. The trees have been identified. Each tree that has a different tree has little tree identification signs in front of it. Down at the lower left is a bench that was donated by a local businessman, Paul Koshner, who has a bluestone company. In the center, or the left center, are the boulders and more things that were donated by local residents. I believe the boulders, for the most part, were donated by Larry, and I know that Jim Pettinato had a lot to do with donations. The wayside exhibit that you see in the bottom right was also an EMHR, the 2017 EMHR grant. We have 3 wayside exhibits showing the history of the park. And over on the far right, you'll see the restrooms that are heated and were built by township funds and donations by another businessman, Dennis Knowlton, who has a masonry company in the Clifford Township. I just wanted to point out that there's a lot of people that have put in money and effort into this park, with the addition of EMHR being one of the main characters in play. The gazebo was built by the township, funded by the township. Again, you see the hiking paths that were forged by residents of the township. The pavilion on the right was funded by the township and is in use quite a bit of the time. We just hosted a big park fest, which I believe we had over 30 vendors, and that pavilion and the gazebo and everything was a major help to the to those functions. And the last chart, which is really the important chart, this in the far left is a proposed DCNR paved loop, and it's going to be, it was approved by DCNR and it will be probably started this year. In the middle, which was holding us up, is a new bridge that is finally in place and probably good to go this month. And that is the vehicle we will use to get the benches and the picnic table over to the hiking trails, which are up on the mountainside where the hiking trails are. And just a pictorial of a bocce court, that is what the township, the supervisors are currently working with the Special Olympics. They came to us because the park is a great place in Susquehanna County for them to use for their purposes. And it's a really good thing for our Clifford Township to do, to help the Special Olympics. And that's really it, unless there's anything that Tom would like to add or that anybody has questions.
One of the other things we're looking at for future enhancements would be to put a roof on the bridge and also provide a handicap fishing area.
Very good. Excellent. Yeah, if you haven't been out there to Clifford Township Community Park, it is a really beautiful park. We've explored it quite a few times. We do have Sandy Wilmot from the Historical Society. She was unable to be here today. She did send a video, but we're having some trouble playing that. But just wanted to let you know, we did provide the Historical Society $8,500 for their children's garden, and they are erecting a glacier essentially made out of spray foam and brick and things like that, that kids will actually be able to walk through and explore. It's quite a project. If you've never been out there, like I said, the Historical Society, the Children's Garden, the park, they're all right there in one area. So it's a full day of activity if you ever get the chance to go out there. If I do get the video working, I will send it out to everybody so you can take a look. So we thank Cindy for sending that over. Next, we have Rhonda Parfit from Oakland Borough to talk about their project. Rhonda, are you with us?
Yes, we are coming. Sorry, I had to clear some screens.
You're okay.
My name is Rhonda Parfit. I'm the outgoing administrator. This is Jenny Bixby. She's the new administrator. She's in her second month with us. We don't have a whole lot to share about our project. I feel kind of like everybody else did such a great job, but maybe they're a little further along. So let me share here. This one. All right, can you tell me what you are seeing? Are you seeing?
Right now we're seeing your file with the photos in it.
Okay, perfect. So our project is, we have plans to put in a scenic overlook next to our existing borough building. Let me move this out of my way. So right now, this building here, if you can see my mouse moving, this is our borough building. The area that's going to be made into the overlook is from this
area.
poor structure here and over to the left, and we have more pictures of that. This area used to be an old auto parts store, and it's been wrecked down. Not really sure how many years ago. It's very unsightly for being, this is our main street that passes right through our borough. There's rebar sticking out, concrete chunks that just, we needed to do something with it. And somebody got the idea to put in an overlook because behind all of these trees, if you can see this roof right here, if you're familiar with the Susquehanna area at all, this is the Strucka House. And then the Ira Reynolds Park, which was mentioned several minutes ago in another presentation, you can see a little bit of green grass right here, but that park stretches in this area here on the grounds of the old Erie Rail Yard. And then of course the railroad also runs through there. So our plan is to put in an overlook in this area. It will be 50 feet wide by 24 feet deep. We just got our plans back from our engineer yesterday, actually. Thin some trees out, not necessarily take them all down. And we are working with the Susquehanna County Conservation District on what we can replace some of that greenery with. Let me see if I can, well, it won't let me flip to my next picture.
I think what you might need.
Okay, let me do this. I might just have to do each one individually. So this is just a closer up. That picture there was from across the road. This is just a closer up, like this is what I was talking about, these chunks here with the rebar sticking out. This is all going to be a nice flat cobblestone concreted area. And again, here.
There's more.
So through those trees, it's going to be beautiful when it's done. Definitely not unsightly as it is now. And then I will show you the actual plans in a minute, but we do have a resident of our borough that parks his truck off to the left-hand side of this green patch here. We have a really good relationship with him, and it doesn't really make sense to do the overlook across the whole stretch. So we are leaving that open for him to park. Our solution is to create a natural fence with some taller trees and just a green area with lots of bushes to finish off the overlook and block the view of his truck, but still give him room to park there. And so here I will show you the plan straight from Delta Engineering. They've been working on this, you know, they've had trouble with people being out of the office sick, out of the office on vacation. It took them a little longer than they wanted it to. And we won't go through all of this engineering garble, but they did do a boundary survey and a topography survey. Kind of gave us an idea of which specific trees would need to come out. And this here is really what's important. So what you are looking at, because it is the opposite direction, here's the main street. That one picture was taken on that side of the street. Part of the area will be nice parking spaces here right off the road. This is the driveway and our flower box and our borough building here. So the overlook is going to be over this way. Like I said, it's 50 feet wide and 24 feet deep. What we're really excited about, obviously part of the construction will be putting in some signage. So this, we kind of have a lot of liberty at this point, and that's what we're going to be working on next, is designing specifically what we'd like it to look like. This half circle area here will be some signage about the Strucka House, the Erie Rail Yard, the Ira Reynolds Park, but then also things to do in the Susquehanna area. Oakland Borough specifically has no assets at this point other than a park with the Little League field, which is in great disrepair that we're also working on renovating. But as far as the greater Susquehanna area goes, there is much to offer here. And Oakland eventually, hopefully, will have some more to offer too. But we're going to have signage here, benches, and again, just kind of something that's open to interpretation a little bit as it's going to be beautiful. Our engineer, he's even got plans for what shrubs to put in. And we foresee this being used for weddings, parties. It's a great pit stop. And we think it will probably encourage some overnight stays to the area. Definitely something that our area needs. And this is the first time Oakland Borough, to my knowledge, I've been here for 2 years. This is the first time Oakland has ever applied for the grant program through EHMR. And so we just want to say thank you so much for seeing the potential in this project and believing that we'll get it done. We're super excited to turn this really blighted and ugly space into something useful for everybody. And that's all we have today.
All right. Well, thank you very much. We look forward to coming out and seeing it when it's all finished. And yeah, overlooks are always great. A lot of big part of what we do. So we appreciate that. All right. Thank you very much. Next on our list is Gus Fahey from Valley in Motion. Gus, are you still with us? You think you're muted, Gus.
You're right. Okay, unmute myself. Yep. Thanks everybody, and thanks EHMR for the grant and for having confidence in us. We're doing a mural in Forest City, so we're calling it a Forest City Trail Town mural. That's connecting the trail assets with downtown Forest City to try to get more people there. I thought I'd just tell you a little bit about Valley in Motion. We're looking to foster community and quality of life in the Lackawanna Valley. And we just in June finished a mural in Carbondale, a 75-foot mural that featured a train coming out of a tunnel, and then the big word of Carbondale with a coal miner on there. So we're hoping to use that experience in Susquehanna County. So this is a big mural there on the side of a building, of a highly visible building in Main Street. So 1,800 square foot, and then it's connected to the Outdoor Town Initiative, and trying to figure out ways to get outdoor recreation to be the center of Forest City's economy. So just a status on the funding, EHMR provided us the initial seed funding, but then we've raised then $13,000 since then. So we're close to finishing off funding for the project, which would mean that we would paint the mural in the spring. So that's sort of where we're at. We have preliminary designs done, but we have a great set of mural artists that are doing do the final design based on additional community input. And then we'll paint and prep in the early spring and have a community celebration in May. And so this is sort of with the designs that we're currently looking at. So, we definitely want to do something that's bright and colorful. It's a big invisible wall. Hundreds of people are going to see it every day just going down Main Street, either walking or biking or in cars. And then we want to have an area that's sort of right by the edge of there where you can take selfies if you're a visitor, and then have a hashtag for city murals that will associate with that, so we can track people's visitors and use. And so, here at Valley Emotion, we're concerned about quality of life. And so we try to measure our impact through this measure called community well-being. And community well-being is a rating of, do you like where you live? Do you feel safe? Do you feel community pride? And then there's other factors of well-being that include physical health, sense of purpose, financial health, and then your social connections, like whether you have supportive people in your life. So we're also, you see these other outcomes here, scenic advancement, and then being a landmark stop for D&H trail users. Whoop, I guess that's it. So that's my presentation. Thanks very much.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Gus. We appreciate it. And we look forward to coming out to seeing the mural. All right. All right. And last of our grant recipients, we have our very own Erica Rogler from the Wyoming County Cultural Center, or Dietrich Theater.
Okay. So I'm here with Mary Turner, and we are going to also talk about a mural project as well. If you want to start sharing the screen, Mary. Okay, so this is our Telling Wyoming County History's mural project and reprinting the historic Tunkhannock walking tour. We thought the blank walls of the Dietrich Place were a perfect spot to tell Wyoming County's history and to make it a destination and an attraction, like Gus mentioned. We were inspired by the murals in Pittston and Philadelphia, and so we decided to take on that project 3 years ago. For the project, we chose to work with artist Bob Leza, and he wanted to do the mural in a trompe-l'oeil style, which is tricking the eye to make you think that what you're seeing in 2D is really 3D. We formed a mural committee, and they decided that the first 2 mural panels should depict the Nicholson Bridge, which is, I think, the most iconic man-made structure in the county. After it was approved, Bob painted an oil painting, and the design was revealed at Founders Day, June 2019. These are some pictures of the mural process, but instead of telling you about it, since we're short on time, I'm going to invite you to visit the mural in person. We have a sign there that talks about the process. So he painted these in the studio. As you can see, the bricks in the mural painting, they are replicas of the bricks on the wall of the Dietrich, and then the bluestone stonework on the bottom of the murals is replicating the stonework at the Wyoming County Historical Society. So he also included architectural elements of the downtown into the mural as well. And so the last 2 years, we had the first 2 panels complete. We chose to do the Nicholson Bridge for the first 2 panels because we just felt you couldn't capture the expanse of it in just one panel. And then this year we decided to, and here's a picture of the signage that tells you a little bit about the Nicholson Bridge and its history, about the artist, and like I said, the mural process, and recognizing EMHR and EMVB for making this project possible. For this 3rd year, we chose to have the mural on the Bridge Street side of the Dietrich Theater. It'll be located on the upper walls, which are outlined in red, so that it wouldn't be, your view wouldn't be hindered by tree growth there. We convened the mural committee, and I was excited to see that the mural committee decided to focus on a natural iconic image. The first one was man-made, and they chose the Vosburgh neck of the Susquehanna River, which is just absolutely stunning. We asked Bob to create a rendering of the design, and the committee also decided, instead of just having a picture there, they would like it to look like a vintage postcard. So with actually like push pins in the corners. So that's what he came up with for us. There's also a sign on the lower section of the wall that will have more information about the Vosburgh neck and will look like the back of a postcard. So you could use it for photos you'd like to take. And we just talked to Bob yesterday, and he will start the installation process on Tuesday. So he's planning to install it from next Tuesday to the following Tuesday. So if you're in Tunkhannock and want to check out how a mural is installed, stop by. He loves to interact with people. Our next project is the reprinting of the historic Tunkhannock walking tour brochure. We developed this project in 2016 with PA Route 6 Alliance, EMHR, EMVB, and the Wyoming County Room Tax Fund. It's a brochure comprised of 40 homes and structures located in historic Tunkhannock. We also have a tour available at dietrichtheater.com/tour, and that has an audio component. The brochure was super popular that we're getting low on brochures, and so we thought reprinting was in order, and we're grateful to EMHR for making that possible. So thank you so much for all you do for supporting our projects that support heritage in our region. We're grateful.
Thank you, Erica. If any of you haven't been down to the Dietrich recently, the current murals that are on there of the Nicholson Viaduct are absolutely stunning. So go down and check them out. You almost think you were looking at an actual view and not a painting. It's pretty incredible. So thank you to all our participants and the grant recipients. We really appreciate you all being here and talking about your projects. So next we have Peter Simone of Simone Collins Landscape Architecture. He's going to talk about the Sullivan County Comprehensive Recreation Parks and Greenways Plan that just started up this earlier this year. So good morning, Peter. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you, Kane, and it's nice to virtually meet everyone. I'm going to share my screen with you here, and it was really interesting to hear and see all of the exciting work that you're all doing in the Endless Mountains. As Kane said, our work involves working in one section of it, Sullivan County, and hopefully you can see my screen here. I'm going to go to full screen mode. And our project involves looking at all of the great resources in Sullivan County. And the purpose is to develop a community-supported plan to guide policy, county delivery of services, prioritize demands and opportunities, and generate a strategic action plan. Enhancing the opportunities in Sullivan County by providing this inventory and information. We're trying to identify opportunities and gaps, and also to better involve or more involve the private sector with a public partnership to focus on creating regional recreational opportunities. And I know all of you know Sullivan County really well, and you know all the resources that are there. I'm not going to read this. This is what I'm going to go over with you quickly today and tell you what we're doing. We're working with a terrific project committee that includes Kane and Commissioner Donna Ione and her colleagues and others in Sullivan County. We've had one committee meeting. We presented to the COG the other evening. So I think we're off to a good start. We're getting more familiar with the county as we speak. And so that's very exciting. Just in terms of the consultant team, Simone Collins has been in business for 31 years. We're located in Norristown on the Schuylkill River. Luckily, we escaped flooding by about 6 feet of elevation with the recent floods. And also working with Derek Dorica, who's a certified parks and recreational professional as required by DCNR. Derek's the director of Parks and Recreation, Upper Dublin Township, a community of probably around 40,000 people. So he's got great experience to share with us and with Sullivan County. The firm itself, basically, I won't read all this, thankfully, but what we do is mostly parks and recreation and trails. That's our main focus. We do other things too. We do a lot of grant writing, and we've worked all across the state over the last 30 years. We were founded, as I mentioned, 35 years ago, and you can see the number of parks and trails, et cetera, type plans that we've completed over the years. And again, I won't read this. This is a list of some of our clients, the types of things we do. And I think one of the reasons we were chosen by Sullivan County was because of our experience. So why plan? And I don't think I have to answer that question for all of you today. A lot of what I heard this morning was about all the great planning you're doing. So really trying to develop this plan for the next 10 to 20 years in terms of both connectivity and open space preservation and protection, and and also as we've started to explore this with our committee, obviously economic development, which is really, I think, going to turn into the focus of our study, how we can marry all the great resources in Sullivan County with local economic development opportunities for all the folks who live and work in the county. It's an 8-month project. We're really at the beginning. It's an aggressive schedule. We're going to have a draft plan around the 1st of February. That'll have a 30-day public review. It'll be up on the county website. We certainly would love any and all of you to review that plan, offer us comments and suggestions, and then we hope to finish the plan by the end of March and be ready with the county for an application to DCNR for implementation of priority projects. It also might be an application to DCD. And because trails are involved, there are a lot of funding sources that come into play. And especially if our friends in the federal government pass some kind of infrastructure plan, the county will be ready to capitalize on that with any trail or connectivity projects that we might recommend as part of this study. Here's our project schedule. Our first public meeting is going to be Monday, October 18th. That's going to be in LaPorte. It'll be both a in-person meeting and a hybrid meeting that will broadcast similar to this meeting. You can see the rest of the schedule here as I summarized a few minutes ago. So it's an aggressive schedule and one that we're very excited to be a part of. So our scope is similar to most scopes that DCNR does. We're identifying partners, and we're still identifying those with the help of our committee. We're going through our due diligence inventory in analyzing facilities. We're obviously finding that there are tremendous resources in Sullivan County alone, not to mention the whole Endless Mountains area. And one of the things we're seeing is getting information out about those resources. Commissioner Ione was on the front page of the Philadelphia Inquirer 2 weeks ago on a story about the census. And I'm sure for many people in the Philadelphia area, that was the first time they heard about Sullivan County, even though it wasn't about Parks and Rec or visiting it. It certainly was good PR for the county. So that was great. There's some existing networks in terms of greenways and trails. There may be some acquisition or protection opportunities that might be prominent. The public participation is always a challenge. We do have a survey online, a public opinion survey. We've had over 100 participants in that already. And we also have wiki mapping available where people can go on and very intuitively draw lines on maps. And then as we come up with recommendations, the strategy, and many of you touched upon that this morning, how do you secure funding? How do you aggressively go after money to bring, whether it's DCNR or real estate transfer tax dollars home that other places will get if they don't go to Sullivan County or other places in the Endless Mountains, and then an action plan for moving that whole process forward. We've identified some potential partners already, including your organization. Most of these partners, and we're continuing to identify them. So this is a work in progress. And you can see our focus is conservation of these resources, planning for the recreational needs of everyone, and Sullivan County and the Endless Mountain regions in general has probably one of the more diverse sets of opportunities of anywhere in the state, all the way from hunting and fishing to bike riding to snowmobiling to ATV use to just being out in nature, kayaking, canoeing. All those things are available in the Endless Mountains and certainly in Sullivan County. And also, our focus is on creating a plan that gets projects built. And also coming up with a plan is how the county should be best involved in Parks and Recreation. As you know, they have a little parklet across from the courthouse, but they don't own any facilities. Do they need to own facilities, or should their resources really go in other directions in terms of helping groups that fund some of the many events in the county, like the Ultra Marathon that brings people from all over the East Coast. and is really puts the county and the Endless Mountains in a showcase position. So those are some of the questions we're asking. For us and for DCNR, and I know for you, public participation is key. You can see the list here of what we're doing in terms of public participation. And we also encourage everybody we come in contact with to contact us anytime in the process, because we need to hear from as many folks as possible. So again, all of you are probably very familiar with this. The county is 452 square miles. In terms of size of other counties, it's a relatively small county, population just over 6,000. And you can see some of the major places in the county. Apologies to the people in Shunk. We didn't get Shunk on this little map here, but we did visit the general store. What a great place. Many distant destinations, and probably the key ones being the 2 state parks that are in the county. I had the opportunity to hike a nice section of World's End State Park with I think it's Cool Spring waterfalls, and just beautiful places you don't find other places other places in the state. Certainly the state forest, the state game lands are very important, and if you take the time to hike some of these trails, or some of them are accessible by car, of course you get some great vistas and views. Hydrology is really important here. Everything we've heard, the county and with the drilling that's going on, companies have been overall very responsible in protecting the water resources in Sullivan County, and in addition to providing clean water for drinking, they provide some incredible scenic resources that people all over the state will tend to seek out. I mentioned the 2 state parks and the state forest. One of the projects that Kane mentioned is the gravel road, which I know the county's very excited about, which will go through the Endless Mountains region. But another project that's out there in the wish list category, and there's been actually a lot of work on it, is a hiking path between Ricketts Glen State Park and World's End State Park. So there are some obstacles, organizational, and I'll call them bureaucratic obstacles to overcome in terms of making that hiking trail a reality. We think it's a great idea, and we're going to try to help the county move that project forward. In terms of transportation, you all know there's no active rail. There used to be some narrow gauge logging roads in the county, and then we do have the best transportation or transit system. Certainly limited service, but how can that system be dovetailed with some of the things that go on in the county, places, events that will also serve visitors and residents in the county. The trails that are there, certainly we've got a lot through the state forest. They're concentrated, a lot of them are concentrated in the central and west part of the county with the Loyal Sock Trail. And there are other opportunities to create different types of trails in the county, and a couple of those I've already mentioned. And also one of the neat developments that also could impact the Endless Mountains initiative for the gravel trail through several of the counties is e-bikes are not permitted on state game lands. My understanding is a lot of hunters are making use of those, but also when we were out touring Sullivan County a couple of weeks ago, we saw a couple of both to be in their 60s had gone up a pretty formidable trail if they didn't have their e-bikes. And so people are already making use of them in the county, and I'm sure in other places, the Endless Mountains. And in our view, that's a great thing, because it makes areas, especially with all the topography you have in the region, more accessible with an e-bike than they might be with somebody who might not be as confident to make that climb. We have looked at Strava bike and run data, and if for those of you who aren't avid bikers or runners, Strava is a little app you put on your phone, and it will track your routes, your workouts, or just your recreational rides. And you can see on the left there, in red the areas that folks who have that app where they're biking, and then people who are running concentrate around World's End. And our guess is that a lot of the people who do the ultra marathons in and around World's End probably are some of these app users. So again, this gives us a quick sort of snapshot of where people are biking and running the most in the county. Also, in terms of open space, there's that sort of that valley that runs along the northern part of the county. I haven't looked yet to see if there's a per capita number or a number of economic generation that's by the agriculture, but agriculture is an important open space. And I mean, I think intuitively, we sort of assume that these natural resources are safe from overdevelopment, but we'd like to take a more conservative approach and think about ways that we can make sure that whatever agriculture is in a hilly county like Sullivan, how that can be protected, because it is local economic development, but it's also open space protection and protection of some valuable habitats too. I mentioned we have a public opinion survey, which is now live, and if you go to the county website, you can find the link to it. And also we have a wiki mapping app where you can go on and you could tell us about a certain point that might be interesting, that might deserve protection, or some type of a facility. You could draw a line to show us where you think a trail connection might be, or you can pinpoint and upload a photo of some great resource that you took, a habitat area, a specific natural resource that you think is really special. And this is one way that we can gather information from the community at large as we go through this plan. So that is a lightning round of a summary of what we're doing with the county. Again, we're very excited to be involved here, and it's great to hear about the context of other things that are going on in the Endless Mountains region. So, and I'll pause here, and if anyone has a question or a comment, be happy to try to answer those.
Yeah, we do definitely want public input on this. So if anyone has anything they'd like to chime in with, please let Peter know. All right, I guess you can move on. If you do have, like Peter said, that survey is available online. Is there a link that you could, I think I still have the link. Here we go.
Here it is there. So here's the link. Kane, we can send you this presentation so that you could distribute it to everybody who's on the call today. And again, we welcome anyone's and everyone's involvement in this. And please, tell your colleagues and your networks about it. If you're close to Sullivan County or interested, we would welcome you at the upcoming public meeting. Again, our first public meeting is going to be on Monday, October 18th at the Sullivan County Courthouse. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. And again, thanks for the opportunity to be a part of this meeting today. Appreciate it.
No, thank you, Peter. We really appreciate it very much. All right. So next we have our consultants, Joe McCulley and Catherine Gase of Relevant Strategies and Solutions, to talk about EMHR's Management Action Plan update.
Hi there, folks.
How are you?
We are well. I apologize. I have a sick 3-year-old in the background, so you just might hear a little person being a little angry. But we're
It's not coming on.
Share.
It's not coming on.
All right.
You know why it's not coming on?
Josie, sorry. What we wanted to do today, and we'll be very quick, is just introduce ourselves and walk you through the management action plan update and let you know where we are in the process, and in particular tee off the board to understand. I'm going to ask Catherine to take over.
We just wanted to tee off and just share a little bit about ourselves and also the process for the management action plan update, as well as where we are in that process. So again, like Jill indicated, we will be very quick, and Jill, just jump in as you choose to. These are our lovely faces. Jill's the Director of Strategic and Business Planning. I'm the Director of Consulting Operations. In the interest of time, I'm going to breeze past that. So our process, we started in late June, early July, and as Kane indicated earlier, our process is going to go through the middle of next year, probably May, June, and we've broken that work up into 6 phases. And so I just very quickly at a high level, just want to give you all a sense of how that sort of breaks out. So right now we're in this first phase, project initiation, information gathering, and really what this is Jill and I are spending quite a bit of time in this phase to get to know you all, to get to know EMHR. And we do that through reviewing materials. We went up in August and had a launch meeting. We had an opportunity to tour some of the sites, meet a number of partners, including a number of you on this meeting today. Jill and I facilitated some one-on-one meetings via Zoom or over the phone with the committee, kind of guiding the management action plan update. We've also just finished up some surveys to partners and the board as well. And so that will all, if you can go back, Jill. So that is all going to sort of inform the themes that we hear and the overarching issues and opportunities. From there, we will update the interpretive framework. And what that really means is we'll take a deep dive into mission, define the vision, outline the goals that will guide the plan. And from there, we'll identify what are the priorities that are going to be pursued in the course of this action plan. And we'll also dig into sort of the how, really build out this framework in terms of the specific actionable steps that will be taken to make sure that this plan is something that can actually be implemented. We will then outline in either the organizational implications and business plan is really look at what are the impacts on EMHR as an organization, as well as the region, and that'll be done through an economic impact analysis. And then finally, we'll put that all together in probably what will be a giant report. We'll probably do a small version of that too for people who don't want to read, probably 100 pages. And one thing to note about this is throughout this process, there will be meetings with the Management Action Plan Committee to make sure that we are sharing our findings, pushing thinking, and then collectively really refining the framework and tweaking and refining as we go. There will also be several places where there's opportunities to sort of test these pieces of the framework externally through public meetings, through external interviews and things like that. So it's not going to happen in a vacuum. It's going to be a very inclusive process. Jill, anything you want to add to that?
No, and I think one of the things we wanted to do today is introduce you to it, and we're going to share some kind of high level thinking, and we'll offer you this deck as an opportunity to reflect on. If there's anything you want to add, please, contact Kane, Vanessa, and ourselves directly and share that feedback.
And this is just to give you a sense. To date, we've conducted a number of interviews. I think this is about 17. So again, everyone on the staff, the majority, maybe almost everyone on the committee, and a number of you are obviously board members as well. So those were the folks that we spoke with in the internal interviews, and we used what we heard from that to build out our online surveys. And we created a partner survey, and that invitations were sent to both past and present members, the staff, other organizations that EMHR works with. So in total, it was roughly 150 individuals were invited to participate in the survey. We received about 45 responses. So that's a 30% response rate, which is really strong for partners who aren't necessarily involved in the every day-to-day nitty-gritty of EMHR. So that's a really strong response rate. For the board, invitations were sent to all 15 board members. We received 10 responses, 67% participation rate. Again, still quite strong. in an ideal world, we'd love to see 100%, but we recognize that schedules don't always align, and sometimes it just doesn't kind of work out. But that's a strong response rate as well. Jill and I will be facilitating a meeting in October with the committee, and so we'll share all of these findings in detail. There will also be a board retreat, which I believe is December 1st, and so we're really going to dig into all of the findings and facilitate more discussion around these things. But just as at a very quick high level, between the surveys and the interviews, we wanted to get a sense of what makes EMHR unique, what distinguishes it, what are the biggest challenges and opportunities, what from your respective lenses would you want to see EMHR accomplish, or what do you really want EMHR to be? What, for the board, we probed about if there's anything from your lens you felt that the board needed to shift, change, evolve in response to that vision. Anything that EMHR is doing today that maybe isn't serving the organization at this point, and so maybe we should consider stop doing. And then in the survey specifically, we also asked participants to rank some of the themes that we were hearing, and so starting to sort of test reactions to those themes around issues and opportunities. Do you want to do this, Jill, or do you want me to? Yeah, okay. And so just again, at a very high level, some of the themes that we have seen and heard through our conversations and that we tested in the surveys was around the role of EMHR. We asked you all to sort of prioritize what the role of EMHR should be in terms of trail development, water trail management, its role in historic and heritage preservation, its environmental role around sustainability and conservation, its role in community revitalization, economic development, as well as educational outreach, and really starting to get a sense of whether certain pieces should be a greater priority, whether they should all be equal, and starting to sort of get that sense from you all. Some other opportunities that we heard in our conversations were expanding the mini grants program. It's sort of the one of the many entry points into EMHR, and it's very strong and well known. And so should that be even larger? Strengthening partnerships and building on what is already working so well to leverage even greater impact in the region. Diversifying the financial model, since we have such a heavy reliance on public support right now. And so really kind of looking at earned and contributed sources of revenue to sort of stabilize that model. Potentially becoming a national heritage area, increasing signature events throughout the course of the year, and having consistently maybe a handful or 2 or 3 events each and every year. Making the region more accessible through trail development and things along, and sort of the tourism piece. And of course, adding staff to expand bandwidth. So again, we asked for, in the surveys, we put these all out there to get a sense of how you all might prioritize these many opportunities. And so, like I indicated, this will be something that we discuss in much greater detail in December and also later this month. To give you a sense of how our sort of timeline is going to lay out here. So as I indicated, we're still sort of in the information gathering stage. That's going to wind down this month. And then at the the committee meeting, we're really going to dig into these emerging issues and opportunities, talk about the findings, and then start to think about prioritizing them. Through sort of in winter, through, after the holidays, we will start to dig into mission and vision, identify the goals that are going to guide the achievement of that vision over the next 5 to 10 years, the objectives, which would be the more specific sort of actionable steps. We will again have another meeting with the committee to test what we've heard and how that framework is coming together. We'll facilitate the board retreat on December 1st to share that high-level framework and the findings, get your reactions to all of those things, and facilitate additional conversation around that. And then in February, sort of into the spring, we'll then do a lot of that external input and testing, and then defining the impacts around all of the priorities that have been defined in the framework. So that's a super fast talk through our process. So please let me know if you have any questions or need me to repeat anything.
Thanks very much, Jill and Catherine. And yes, we would like more participation in those surveys. So if you would still like to do so, we can get you those and, make sure your voice is heard. We definitely want 100% participation rate from our board, so no excuses. So, thank you two very much. It has been really a pleasure working with you thus far. We really look forward to getting together again in October. I know the advisory committee is also looking forward to that as well. So thank you both so much. We really appreciate you helping out with phase 2 and doing a great job. So, all right.
Thank you.
So we are going to switch things up. It is our last part of the meeting today. We were going to have Candace Hilliard present us with a little partnership award from Route 6, but I know Tina Pickett has to get on with another meeting, so we are going to let her go first and speak on that. She had a little proclamation for the EHMR. So Candace will be right with you. Tina, are you there?
I am here, Kane. My video says that the host has stopped my video, so. Oh, now I see.
There you go.
Okay, then
There's
the
the representative.
host decided to let me come back on, so it's good.
Well, thank
so
you,
much.
Representative. We appreciate you being here, and I know you have a busy schedule, so we appreciate you taking the time out.
Thank you. Hey, listen, it's a real honor today. This is what I have. I had hoped to hand it to Kane today. We've been trying to do that a couple of times, and it just hasn't worked out for the reasons that we're all aware of. But again, it's just a wonderful opportunity to be able to say to the organization, you've picked somebody that's so worthy of being honored, and that is the Heritage Region and the Endless Mountains. A fantastic organization, pretty much, I would have to say from day one, and right now doing a fantastic job with a really great leader, and that would be Kane Chamberlain. I'm just so glad that he's in charge of this at this point, because I know he's going to do a fantastic job, is doing a fantastic job. He has a great feel for the area and for all the things that are important. I'm a former business owner, so I know how much this matters when you're trying to attract people into the area. And I'm also obviously a resident who really enjoys having these sites and these availabilities here for, just as I say, there's nothing like taking a day trip in your own backyard. It's just a lot of enjoyment. So it's the Pennsylvania House of Representatives that wants to say congratulations to this Endless Mountains Heritage Region group, and to say thank you for all that you're doing. And I know that people are aware of the many things that the region and the corridor is involved in, but it was established in 1998 and has been one of the 12 regions that this Commonwealth and ourselves as representatives are very proud to be able to support when it comes to budget time and make sure that it's in place. It is a 2,850 square mile area, encompasses Bradford, Sullivan, Susquehanna, and Wyoming County. And how well we know up here, it's a matter of a lot of geography, but it's absolutely beautiful geography, and it's great to be able to promote it and keep it in the forefront of people. We have a North Branch Susquehanna River Water Trail. It's a national recreational trail and an official getaway for the Chesapeake Bay Gateways Network. Throughout its history, the Endless Mountains Heritage Region has been there to maintain and enhance the unique rural character and the culture of the Endless Mountains, and has provided financial and capacity building support to various partner organizations and projects in order to fulfill that mission. So today, I still have this citation, Kane. I'm bringing it to you soon at the office. That's what I'm going to do. And it has been signed by
excellent.
Myself,
thank you so much.
Representative Karen Boback, Representative John Fritz, Representative Clint Owlett, all of us proud to sponsor this and be in your region, and signed by the Speaker of the House, Brian Cutler. So again, just my absolute privilege today to be able to say thank you to the organization for honoring the Endless Mountains Heritage Region. The Endless Mountains Heritage Region is just something that we're so proud of and happy to be working with. And thank you, Kane, for all you do. Thank you for your board. Thank you to everybody who's involved with this. And my privilege to be able to chat a bit about it today. And I'm going to deliver it to you.
Very good. Well, thank you very much, Representative.
Thank you so
we
much,
really
everyone.
appreciate the recognition for it.
Yes.
We really do.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you.
Take care.
Candace, I guess you can comment on what comes next.
I sure can. So the award that Endless Mountains Heritage Region is a Route 6 award. So I'm Candace Hilliard. I'm the Executive Director of Pennsylvania Route 6 Alliance, and it's so good to see familiar faces. We are another one of the heritage areas along with EMHR. And like Kane's meeting, our meeting 2 weeks ago was postponed the in-person event due to COVID. So, which is why we have to do things virtually as well. One of the projects, as Kane was talking about, was the Pennsylvania Route 6 facade program in the Endless Mountains with the partnership with EMHR. So we had received $103,000 from DCED with partnership funding from DCNR. So at the end of 2019, I snagged Vanessa from the EMHR to run our facade program as our coordinator, which in turn, he then stole one of my board members, Christine Takimobi. But this program went over extremely well. This was our second facade program. And Vanessa and I both, I was new to the executive director role and Vanessa new to the facade coordinator. We both learned about this program together and found that there are many businesses in Bradford and Wyoming County and the whole region who are specifically interested in looking at sprucing up their storefronts. This program was able to fund 32, plus we have a little extra funding we're working with projects across those 2 counties, and which brings in not only the business component of sprucing up the properties, but the $250,000 of funding goes right back into your communities for lasting years ahead. So our organization, each year we give awards. Our Do 6 award program, we spotlight individuals, organizations, businesses, and corporations who exemplify the mission of the Route 6 Alliance to protect and preserve and enhance the scenic, cultural, historical, and recreational resources of Pennsylvania in the Northern Tier. So this year, our Heritage Partnership Award, which is presented to a group or project that has demonstrated excellence in historic and cultural preservation, interpretation, and higher education through cross-corridor thinking and interagency cooperation. This year, this award goes to Endless Mountains Heritage Region, which I will show you your official award, which is here.
Nice.
And I will be hand delivering this to you next week. Next Thursday, I'll be circling in and handing out the awards. And I also have, which you are aware of this as well, we have a Senate citation from Senator Lisa Baker. So I'll bring this over to you as well.
Thank you
So
so
I
much.
just want to say congratulations to this organization, and it's been a pleasure to watch your accomplishments the past couple of hours, and you're doing amazing work. So congratulations.
Thank you, Candace. We appreciate it. Yeah, Candace and I are both kind of the newbies in Heritage PA, but I know she's done a great job taking over for Terry Dennison at Route 6 and filling those shoes. So it's great to watch your organization grow and accomplish so much as well. So thank you. All right. Well, we appreciate that acknowledgement. That is all we have for today. I know we finished a little past noon like we had originally anticipated. We wanted to finish up at noon, but 20 minutes is no big deal, I guess. I know you have a lot of stuff to do today, everybody, so we're going to let you get to it. If you don't have any questions for me, I'll give you a few seconds if you have anything to say or add. And other than that, we'll finish up today. All right, then. Well, thank you all very much for joining us. We appreciate your support, all the work you're doing with your projects, and we really appreciate the partnerships as well. So thank you all so much. Hope you all have a great day. And thank you once again to the Wyoming County Chamber for getting this all set up for us. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All
Have a great
right.
day, everyone.
Take care.